No one in the room expected it. Not the reporters, not the fans waiting outside the hotel, not even the Spanish journalist who had prepared a list of safe, predictable questions for the interview. It was supposed to be a simple appearance, another polished stop on Yaman's international press tour. A few photos, a few charming answers, some polite laughter, and then straight to the next city. But something shifted that day in Madrid. Something in Can's eyes looked heavier, quieter, almost tired of the performance. And when the reporter asked an innocent question about financial discipline and family influence, nobody imagined the truth that was about to come out. Can hesitated. He offered a small smile, polite but strained. Then, unexpectedly, he leaned back in his chair, exhaled deeply, and looked down at his hands. The room fell silent. It wasn't the thinking pause actors do when they want to look reflective on camera. This was different. This was a man debating whether to keep carrying a secret he'd held for years, or finally let it go. And in the span of 3 seconds, he made his choice. "You know," he said slowly, "people think I control everything in my life. My career, my projects, my time, my image." He paused again, then added, almost reluctantly, "But the truth is, there's something big I don't control." The journalist blinked, confused. Cameras zoomed in. The tension became electric. "What do you mean?" she asked carefully. Can swallowed, his jaw tightening before he spoke again. "My money," he answered. "My finances. My entire fortune." His eyes lifted to meet the camera directly, as if he knew this confession would travel far beyond that room. "They're handled by someone else." The interviewer tilted her head. "Handled by who?" Ken hesitated. His lips pressed together. His fingers interlocked tightly. And then, he said it. "My mother." The room reacted instantly. Chairs shifted. Eyebrows raised. The camera operator instinctively moved closer. It was the kind of reveal that no one, even longtime fans, ever imagined he would admit publicly. But he didn't stop there. "For years," he continued, "people assumed I'm the one making every decision about my earnings. But she's the one who sees everything. Every contract. Every transfer. Every negotiation. Every move." His voice dropped slightly, softer but sharper. "She controls it all." The journalist's eyes widened, unable to hide her shock. "All of it?" Ken nodded. "All." For a moment, he almost looked relieved, like finally saying it out loud loosened a weight he had been carrying on his chest for far too long. But the relief was mixed with something else, an emotion the audience couldn't quite identify yet. Guilt? Fear? Sadness? He continued speaking before anyone could break the silence. "It started when I was young. She wanted to protect me. Keep me grounded. Make sure I wouldn't lose myself in fame, in money, in the industry." He shrugged lightly. "And at the beginning, it made sense. I trusted her more than anyone. But now," the journalist asked gently. Ken hesitated again, longer this time. "Now I'm a grown man," he said. "I travel the world, I negotiate contracts, I build my brand, but I still don't touch my own money without her approval. Not a project, not an investment, not a payment." His expression shifted. An honesty that bordered on vulnerability. "There are days I feel like I own everything. And days I feel like I own nothing at all." His words stunned the room. A global star, confessing he wasn't in full control of his own success. It was the kind of revelation that could spark headlines, debates, and misunderstandings. And yet, Ken didn't try to soften it. Didn't try to explain it away. Didn't laugh it off. He meant every word. And the world watching would soon realize this wasn't just about money. It was about power, family, loyalty, control, and a truth he had kept hidden for years. The shock in the room didn't fade, it deepened. The Spanish journalist, who had interviewed dozens of international stars, had never seen anything quite like this. Ken wasn't speaking like a celebrity. He wasn't calculating his image, choosing safe words, or hiding behind rehearsed charm. He spoke like a man who had finally hit a point where silence felt heavier than truth. "People see me traveling, filming, working non-stop," he said, his eyes drifting toward the window as if looking at a distant memory. "They think I'm the one pulling all the strings. That I'm fully independent, fully in control." He paused. "But I'm not. Not in the way they think." One reporter shifted uncomfortably, sensing the emotional gravity behind his words. Another leaned forward, ready to capture every syllable. "Spain wasn't expecting a confession today, but Spain got one. My mom built everything with me," Ken continued. "From the beginning. She was there when nobody believed in me. She handled my contracts when I had no experience. She protected every lira, every euro, every dollar because she didn't want anyone to take advantage of me." He took a slow breath. "And somewhere along the way, the responsibility never shifted back to me." He wasn't bitter as he spoke, but there was a quiet tension in his voice, the kind that comes from years of holding something in. "You say she handles your finances," the journalist said carefully. "But do you mean everything?" Ken looked directly at her. "Everything," he repeated. "Every project I accept, every payment I receive, every transfer to my accounts." His jaw tightened slightly. "If I want to invest, she has to approve it. If I want to buy something significant, she has to check the numbers. If I want to raise my salary for a project, she's the one negotiating, not me." The room went still. A global superstar, admitting he wasn't the financial architect of his own empire. "She's not doing it to control me in a bad way," he added quickly, almost defending her. "She thinks she's protecting me. She thinks she's keeping me safe." He exhaled, eyes dropping. "But sometimes I wonder if she realizes I'm not a kid anymore." That line hit the room with force. The journalist softened her tone. "Do you feel trapped?" Ken hesitated, too long for a comfortable silence. He opened his mouth, closed it again, then finally said, "I feel limited. Like there's a part of my life I don't fully own." His fingers tapped his knee, revealing the nervous energy he rarely showed publicly. "People think I'm powerful. But power isn't about being famous. Power is having control over your own life." The truth in his voice was unmistakable. He wasn't angry. He wasn't blaming. He was simply admitting a reality he'd outgrown. "There were projects I wanted to take," he said. "Risks I wanted to try. Investments I wanted to make. But she said no. And I listened. Because she's always been right. Because she's always been the anchor, the protector, the strategist." He looked down. "But sometimes being protected feels a little too close to being restricted." It was the first time he had said those words out loud, even to himself. "What about your freedom?" the journalist asked gently. Ken laughed softly, but it wasn't a laugh of amusement. It was a laugh that carried years of frustration. "Freedom?" he repeated. "My fans think I live the most free, glamorous life imaginable. But the truth? My freedom is partial." He thought for a moment, searching for the right words. "I'm the face. The one on the screens. The one in the posters. The one people talk about." His voice became quieter. "But the person holding everything together, the one with the real control," he looked directly into the camera, "is my mother." The room fell silent again, heavier, deeper than before. The confession was no longer just about finances. It was about a man confronting the invisible structure behind his success. A structure built out of love, fear, protection, and perhaps too much control. And for the first time in his life, he was questioning it publicly. The Madrid interview room had turned into something no one planned for. What began as a promotional stop had become a deep emotional excavation, layer by layer, truth by truth. The cameras kept rolling, but even they seemed hesitant, as if capturing this moment felt too intimate, too raw, too revealing. And yet, no one dared look away. Not the reporters, not the crew, not the millions who would soon watch the clip explode across every platform in the world. Ken shifted in his seat, rubbing his palms together slowly, an unconscious gesture of a man fighting an internal storm. "You know," he said, voice softer than before, "people always talk about my rise. How fast it happened. How big it got." He exhaled. "But they never talk about the structure behind it. The system. The discipline. The control." The journalist leaned forward, speaking nearly in a whisper. "You mean your mother?" He nodded. "She's the reason I'm here. That's the truth. She pushed me to study. She pushed me to improve. She pushed me to never settle for average. She did what every mother dreams of, she protected my talent before I even understood it." He paused, eyes drifting toward the wall behind the camera. "But success isn't free. It comes with a price. And I didn't realize how high that price was until I grew older." There was a tremor in his voice, not fear, not anger, something deeper. Something like realization. "When you're young," he continued, "you don't question anything. You think your parents know what's best. You think the world will make sense later. You just say yes and keep going." A faint, almost sad smile appeared. "But later, when you finally have your own desires, your own dreams, your own direction, you start noticing the walls you didn't build." The room shifted. Reporters exchanged glances. This was no ordinary confession. "There were moments," Ken said, "when I wanted to do something spontaneous. Buy something for myself. Start a project without anyone's approval. But every time, every single time, I had to ask." His brow tightened slightly. "Ask for permission. Ask if it was a good move. Ask if it aligned with the plan." He shook his head. "And if she said no, it was no." The journalist hesitated, then asked softly, "And how did that make you feel?" He answered without thinking. "Like I was successful, but not independent." Then he added, quieter, "Like I was rich, but not free." Those words hit the room like a sudden drop in temperature. A global superstar, admitting that despite the fame, the wealth, the admiration, he still lived under someone else's decisions. "I don't blame her," he said quickly, almost defensively. "Everything she did came from love. From fear. From wanting to protect me from mistakes, from manipulation, from the industry." His eyes softened. "She saw things I didn't. She sacrificed everything to help me. And for that, I'll always be grateful. But gratitude," he added after a long pause, "doesn't erase the feeling of being controlled." There. The word finally landed. Controlled. A word no one ever imagined he would say publicly. He looked down at the table. "Sometimes I wonder who I would be if I had learned to manage myself earlier. If I had handled my own finances, my own risks, my own failures." His expression tightened. "Maybe I would have made mistakes. Maybe I would have lost money. Maybe I would have fallen harder." His jaw clenched slightly. "But at least those mistakes would have been mine." One reporter whispered to another, unable to hide the shock. This wasn't just celebrity gossip. This was a revelation of identity, autonomy, adulthood, and the invisible strings behind fame. Ken continued, his voice steady but full of weight. "People think freedom is about traveling the world, having money, doing what you want." He shook his head gently. "Freedom is about ownership. Ownership of your decisions. Your success. Your failures. Your life." The journalist swallowed. "Do you want that now? To take control?" He looked into the camera as if speaking not to the audience, not to Spain, but to himself. "I think," he said quietly, "it's time." Silence. Then another sentence, one that carried a lifetime of emotion, "For the first time. I want to live a life that's truly mine. And in that moment, everyone in the room felt it. This interview wasn't just a confession. It was the beginning of a shift. A change. A break in the pattern. And nothing after this moment would remain the same. The tension in the interview room had reached a point where even the air felt heavier. What started as a simple press event had turned into an emotional unraveling, one that nobody expected, least of all Ken himself. He looked calmer now, but it wasn't the calm of relief. It was the calm that follows a storm you can't stop, when the truth finally spills out and there's no way to take it back. The journalist sensed the fragility of the moment and spoke with care. You said you think it's time to take control. What held you back all these years? Ken let out a slow, reflective breath. Fear, he said. Not fear of responsibility, or failure, or money. But fear of disappointing her. His eyes softened with a kind of emotional honesty that was impossible to fake. She gave everything to build my career. Every sacrifice, every plan, every decision, it all came from her wanting me to have a life better than hers. And because of that, I started living not for myself, but for her expectations. He paused, staring at the table as if replaying years of buried memories. When you love someone that deeply, he continued, you don't want to hurt them. You don't want to challenge them. You don't want to say no even when every part of you is screaming that you should. He shook his head slowly. So you stay silent. You accept the decisions. You tell yourself it's temporary. You convince yourself that they know better. The journalist leaned in slightly. But at what point did you realize it wasn't temporary? A hollow laugh escaped him, quiet, bitter, full of truth. When I turned 30. He looked up, meeting her gaze. That's when it hit me. I wasn't a boy anymore. I wasn't a rising actor. I wasn't some newcomer trying to survive in the industry. He exhaled deeply. I was a man with international fame, global projects, millions of fans. And yet I still couldn't authorize a single major financial decision without sending her a message. The room fell painfully quiet. She's always been strong, he said. Always the backbone. Always the strategist. And I always admired her for that strength. His fingers tapped the armrest gently, a subconscious reveal of nerves. But the stronger she became, the smaller I felt. Those words lingered in the air, heavy with meaning. He continued, voice shaking slightly. There were times I wanted to say something. Times I wanted to tell her that I needed space, that I needed to try things on my own, that controlling my finances didn't protect me anymore, it limited me. He closed his eyes briefly. But every time I tried to talk, I saw her face. Her pride. Her sacrifices. And I couldn't do it. The journalist spoke softly, with a hint of empathy. Because you didn't want to hurt her? Because I didn't want her to think I didn't appreciate her, he whispered. I owe her everything. My success, my education, my discipline, my life structure, all of it came from her. I never wanted her to feel like I was rejecting everything she built. He swallowed hard. But love can complicate things. Even the purest kind. Another silence washed over the room. People talk about independence like it's something you just decide one day, he said. But when you're tied to someone emotionally, when their identity is woven into your success, it's not that simple. His voice cracked slightly. I wasn't just afraid of disappointing her. I was afraid of losing her. The journalist's expression softened. Do you think she would let go? If you took control? Ken hesitated, longer than before. I don't know, he finally said. She's used to being the protector. The manager. The guardian. He took a deep breath. And I'm used to being the son who listens. Another truth emerged, quiet, vulnerable, devastating. For years I thought I was protecting her, he admitted. Protecting her from stress, from pressure, from shifting dynamics. He looked down again. But maybe I was just protecting myself. Maybe I was afraid of stepping into my own life. Afraid of taking responsibility. Afraid of making a mistake without having her to blame or rely on. The room shifted, everyone felt the weight of his realization. Maybe, he whispered, I wasn't the one protecting her. Maybe she was the one protecting me from myself. The cameras captured the moment, the exact second a man recognized the invisible chains he had been carrying for decades. Not chains made of malice or control, but chains made of love, fear, loyalty, and habit. And with that realization, the next words he spoke would change everything. You know what's strange? He began softly. I didn't plan to say any of this today. I didn't wake up thinking, I'll tell Spain my biggest secret. I came here to talk about my project, my schedule, my usual stuff. He exhaled slowly. But something changed when I sat down. I realized I was tired. Tired of what? The journalist asked gently. Tired of pretending, he said. Tired of acting like I'm in control of everything when I'm not. Tired of carrying a secret that stopped feeling like protection and started feeling like pressure. His fingers brushed his jawline, a subtle sign of tension. Sometimes the truth slips out when you're exhausted. And today, I'm exhausted. He leaned back slightly, the chair creaking under the weight of everything he had been holding inside. I love my mother, he continued. More than anything. She built this life with me. She sacrificed her own dreams so mine could exist. His eyes softened at the memory of her. But somewhere along the road, I think she forgot to let go. And I forgot to ask her to. The journalist's eyes glistened. Do you think she'll be upset that you said this publicly? A bittersweet smile touched his lips. Probably, he admitted. She's private. Protective. She believes our family matters should stay in the family. He paused. But I also think she'll understand. Because if she sees this, she'll see a man who's trying to grow, not a son who's rebelling. His voice lowered, trembling slightly. I needed to say it, even if it hurts her. Even if it scares me. Even if the whole world turns it into a headline. He inhaled shakily. Because truth doesn't disappear just because you hide it. He rubbed his palms together, gathering enough courage for what he would say next. There have been so many nights, he admitted, where I sat alone in hotel rooms, thinking about my life. Thinking about freedom. Thinking about identity. His throat tightened. And I kept asking myself one question, who am I when I'm not being managed? The journalist whispered, and do you know the answer? He shook his head slowly. No. Not yet. But I want to find out. The honesty in those words stunned the room. Can's voice deepened with emotion. Spain was the first time I said it out loud, even to myself. I want control. Not because I don't trust her. But because I need to learn how to stand on my own, financially and emotionally. I want to know I can make decisions without feeling like I have to get approval. He exhaled, the heaviness in his chest slightly lifting. I want to be a man, not just a son. A silence followed, long, powerful, transformative. And then, almost in a whisper, he added one more line, I think it's time for me to take my life back. The words hung in the air like a declaration, soft, but irreversible. Everyone in the room knew it, this wasn't just a confession. This was a turning point.